It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. I was in Marks and Spencer's just the other day and I was looking at their beers and I was thinking, there's a pattern here, and it took me a long time to work this pattern out. I'm surprised it took me, well, years really, but what I looked at was they had British lager, Belgian lager, Spanish, Czech and German. And I thought, there's a theme there. There's something I can do with this. Let's put them all together and see what Marks and Spencer's idea is of bringing out lots of different European lagers, because there is a difference. There is definitely a difference. There's a difference between British and Belgium, and Belgian and Czech, and German and Spanish lager. I think the thing that triggered this video, the one that made me go, the light bulb moment, if you like, was the Spanish lager. That was brought out in the summer of 2024, and Spanish lager is a big thing. It's a big deal in the UK. This beer is brewed by Estrella Damm, the El Prat del Lobre brewery. It's Estrella Damm. Reviewed the Czech beer a couple of times, but I thought to myself, yeah, let's put them all together. Let's see what Marks and Spencer's idea is of what these different beers will taste like. So we're going to start off with, we'll get them all open first. We will open the British lager because it's 4% ABV. Price wise, $5.75 for 4 cans of British, $5.75 for 4 cans of the Belgian beer. These beers, the German, the Czech and the Spanish, are £2.25 per bottle. So you've got your prices. We'll go through the ABVs. Let's start pouring some beer. Show you the box first, I suppose, is it? Right, this is British lager brewed by Freedom Brewery. A lot of you would have probably heard of Freedom Brewery. If you're a lager drinker, you've probably drank some of the Freedom beers that hit Lidl and Aldi every now and again. This beer being 4% ABV and the lowest ABV of all of the beers. Isn't that interesting? Right, beer glass. They're all going to go in relatively the same glasses, apart from the Czech beer, which I'm going to pour into a Czech style mug. These are German style mugs. I suppose maybe I could have used a tulip glass for this, or a dimpled pint glass, but we want to give it all a fair shot, don't we? So this is the British lager, 4% ABV, good levels of carbonation, 1 finger white head, straw coloured, clear looking beer. Smells okay. Belgian lager, 5% ABV. What's interesting here is the 4% lager is probably based on Carling from the UK. Canada, really. Carling being the #1 selling lager. I think it was the #1 selling lager. I think it's just been overtaken. But they've styled that beer on Carling, haven't they? Same as this Belgian lager. 5% ABV. They probably styled it on Stella Artois. This is by the Hatched Brewery. Brewery Hatched, Belgium. Lovely brewery that produce some great beer. I have had their lager before now, it's pretty good. I've had some blondes from them. Yeah, good beer. Nice deeper colour on this one. If you have a look at the British lager, have a look at the head retention on the... It's really poor looking, really, isn't it, the British lager? I didn't want to say anything before now. I just wanted to pour a decent Belgian beer first. Look at the difference between the two beers. Lovely carbonation in the Belgian beer. Decent carbonation in the British beer, but it just looks a bit too straw coloured for me. Bit too light. Not one finger white head. Look at the beautiful head on this beer. Next beer then. Should we go in? We'll go in ABV, so we'll go with the bottles, that is. So we'll go Spanish lager from Dam, 4.5% ABV. If you notice here, 660 milliliter bottle. It's the largest of the bottle sizes. And it's kind of what you expect from Spanish beer, really. You get a big bottle, don't you? You can buy big bottles of San Miguel in Spain and Estrella Damm in Spain, for that matter. There we go. Lovely looking beer. Deeper amber colour, clear, good carbonation, one finger white head. This one's got a bit of a hiss and a fizz about it. Have a listen to the, that's the Belgian. Nothing. Have a listen to the Spanish. Whatever the microphone is. It's a bit hissy and fizzy, isn't it? German lager, ABK brewery. ABK, fantastic beer. They produce some good Weiss beers, good lagers. This German lager is 4.9% ABV in a 500 milliliter bottle. There it is. So all of these are looking relatively the same, apart from the British lager. That looks a bit suspect to me. Could be fantastic. I've not drunk it yet. I'll be there in a moment. Good carbonation on this one. This glass does have a bit of a widget on the bottom though. 1 to 2 finger white head, good carbonation, beautiful looking light amber coloured lager that's very clear to look at. So there's a German, and here's a Czech one. So Czech beer generally poured in pint mugs like this. Being that this is the Bohemia Region Brewery, I've had a little look at their website. They look like a really interesting brewery, actually. I thought it was going to be someone big, like, you know, like this El Prat brewery is really damn, isn't it? I thought maybe this might have been Stara Pramen or Budvar. But no, this seems to be a smaller regional brewery in the Czech Republic. And I think this is where it all started with Marks and Spencer. I think the Czech lager is where it all began. They brought out the German beer, I think, in the latter stages of 2022, 2023. Probably had the British lager for a number of years actually, and the Belgian. But yeah, then they moved into Spanish beer. I wonder if they'll have an American. I wonder if they bring out an American lager, Marks and Spencer's. One Finger Whitehead, good carbonation. This one's, yeah, this is looking definitely a little bit more Czech, like deeper, darker colour. 5% ABV, this one. Lovely. Okay, so let's pick up the British lager. What I like about this is that all of the beers are brewed in their own countries. Spanish is Spain, Belgium is Belgium, British is British, German is German, and Czech is Czech, all from their own retrospective brewing countries. Brilliant. Aroma. We've had this kind of like fake Spanish lager thing going on, haven't we? From like Italian Moretti is brewed in the UK. Madri, the Spanish beer, is brewed in the UK. The Spanish have never really heard of it. British lager, Freedom Brewery, specialise in lager, bit malty, bit grainy, bit hoppy, little bit sulphury. Let's get in. Cheers, everybody. Sweet, little bit farty, if I'm honest. That's what I meant by the sulphur. It's a little bit metallic and farty. Freedom Brewery, for me, you'll either get something really good from them or you'll get something really quite poor. This is falling, unfortunately, on the poor side. It's just a bit... It's probably been designed on Foster's and Carling, to be honest with you. This has been designed for the Foster's and Carling drinker. And I suppose if you're a lover of Foster's and Carling, then you're going to like this. And it's a thumbs up from Marks and Spencer's, isn't it? Because they've created something for your palate. They've created a 4% ABV lager that's not Carling and Foster's, which is very similar in the ABV. But for me, this is already the worst beer. I know for a fact this is already the worst beer on the... I just knew when I put my nose into this earlier on. Just... oh, thin, sulphury, farty, little bit of astringent bitterness, wet. Wet is the best way to describe this. I'll come back to it with a rating. I'm going to leave the bottles till last, so I'm going to go now to... I'm going to go over to Belgium, the Hatch Brewery, 5% ABV, because you're either going to pick up, if you like to pick up boxed cans, you're either going to pick up a box of the British or the Belgium, aren't you? So I'm going to put these two together. Aroma. Much better. Much, much better. The water's softer. It's a little bit sweet. It's hoppy. There's a certain kind of hop. It's almost got that kind of Belgian candy, sugar, fruit aroma to it, like you get in a Belgian blonde. It smells quite nice. Let's get in. Cheers, everybody. better. Better than the British beer. It's got a little bit more body. You get a little bit more of a sense of the grains. It's a little bit more malty and grainy, which you want from a lager. It's got a nice bitterness on the back end. Probably not the greatest lager. It certainly hasn't got me jumping for joy, stone the crows sort of thing. I mean, it's good, it's better. It's a little bit tinny and metallic. Maybe that's the can. Maybe it's the can. Just a little bit tinny and metallic from the can. Just holding the beer back a little bit. But it's okay. It's better than the British lager. Right, where are we going next? 4.5% ABV. Let's get into this Spanish lager then. Could very well be a rebadged Estrella Damm, this one. Smells okay. None of that kind of tinniness from the tinny cans, the metallic aroma and taste. Little bit thinner than the Belgian lager, a little bit more refreshing, but it's been brewed for the Spanish sunshine. If you get a good month in the UK, it's been brewed for the UK sunshine, hasn't it? I talked to you earlier on about that kind of carbonation on the top, and I put the beer up to the camera, that kind of hissy fizzy. It's a little bit aggressive, this one. It's a little bit aggressive on the carbonation. You can definitely feel that carbonation kind of like spritzing around the mouth, pushing the beer on the mouth inside, releasing more of that flavour. This is probably down to you. If you like a highly carbonated lager, this will probably be for you. But it's very refreshing on the thin side. A little bit of grain malt coming through, a little bit of bitterness. Pretty decent beer, actually. I'm probably preferring this over the Belgian lager in the tin. It's a shame, really, that you can't buy the Belgian lager in the bottle. I prefer to buy it in a bottle, really. But then again, I suppose if they're targeting this at Stella Artois, most people buy Stella Artois out of a can, don't they? So this is my way of thinking. You buy a Estrella Damm out of a red bottle, a red label bottle. You're getting the equivalent here, aren't you, from Marks and Spencer? Right, the German and the Czech is 0.1% ABV between them. So one's 4.9, one's 5% ABV. But I'm going to leave the I'm going to leave the German beer till last. The reason why I'm going to leave the German beer till last is because characteristically, Czech beer, or actually, if you're thinking about Budweiser Budvar, that's more of a sweeter, malty lager. And when I poured this beer, it did look a bit, I didn't put my nose in, it did look a bit malty and grainy, this one. So that's the reason why I'm going to put it before the German lager. Even though it's 0.1% of an ABV higher. It looks like Budvar, doesn't it, this one? Good carbonation. Malty amber body. difference between this and the Spanish lager is, wow. This is like taking out the 1.5 litre engine and bolting down a 3 litre engine where the Spanish lager was. This is like an engine upgrade, this Czech lager. In every single department, this is a better beer, for me personally. You're getting a lot more body, you're getting a lot more grain, you're getting a lot more malt, that biscuity malty flavour, but the hop finish on the back end is just tremendous. Whoa. I think I reviewed this beer March of this year, 2024, and I think I described it as a bit kind of, I think I had a bit of a dodgy bottle, to be honest, from Marks and Spencer. It was the old label bottle as well, the more shiny gold labelled Czech beer that they had with the darker green label, if anybody remembers that. And I described it as a bit buttery back in March, but this is a good batch of this beer. This is a really good batch. And of course, beer does differentiate sometimes from batch to batch. Oh, that's good. That's really good. That kind of like biting, stinging nettle bitterness coming through is a bit fantastic, to be honest. The malt, the balance of the beer. This so far, this is the clear winner. Now it's down to the Germans, an ABK. ABK Brewery, if you go to some of the foodies festivals in the UK, they have one in Cardiff in May. ABK are generally at the foodies festivals if you want to try some of their beer. They do a range of Weiss beers and lagers, and the people who run it, I've got to know them. They're lovely people. Tim and his wife, brilliant people. Yeah, let's get into this one then. Good head retention, good carbonation, nice aroma. But can it beat the Czech beer? Oh, it's different again. It's different again. This one, you're tasting layers of grain, you're tasting layers of malt, you're tasting some sweet malt, some biscuity malt, almost like a bit of kind of nuttiness coming through, almost like a there's so much level of layer, that's the word, not level, layers of grain here. Fantastic. It doesn't have the bitterness of the Czech lager. That Czech lager has some real biting bitterness to it. I would say this is a little bit more well-rounded. I would say this is more, if you prefer a maltier, grainier lager without that really strong bitterness on the back end, maybe this is for you. That Czech, let's put them side by side. You can see, for me, these two are the best. I'll explain why in a moment, but these two are the best beers. You can see the lacing, the quality of the German lager here. You can see that kind of malty but hoppy. Again, Czech beer for me, it doesn't hold its head very much. It's not supposed to be overly carbonated, is Czech beer. They have a thing called the Czech pour. I forgot to do it. I should have done it really, but they have a Czech pour where you pour half the beer quite aggressively, let the head settle, and then get the rest of the beer in. So you're knocking the carbonation out. So You see the carbonation of the German beer. You see the lack of carbonation in the Czech beer. That's done by purpose. That's supposed to be like that. Let's go side by side. Grainy and malty and beautiful. It's beautiful beer. You really do get a sense of those grains. Malty, touch of butteriness, and then warmth, that bitterness on the back end. It's like, since I last reviewed this, they've ramped the bitterness up on this beer. So, my question on the thumbnail was, what's the difference between all of these beers? Well, of course, the difference is country, the difference of style. For me, the British lager from Freedom Brewery has been based on the Carling and the Foster's drinker. I'm not having another word said. I'm absolutely 100% sure that that beer has been brewed and catered for. That's the word. This beer has been brewed to cater for the Carling and Foster's drinker, as has the Belgian lager. The Belgian lager has been catered for the Stella Artois drinker. The Spanish lager has been catered for hot sunshine, beautiful skies, like the barbecue, big 660ml of beer, bigger bottle, more beer, have some fun, Spanish fiestas, Spanish parties, you know, that sort of kind of outdoory mindset. Cultural, isn't it? It's all cultural here. The Czech Pilsner has been brewed on a Czech style Pilsner lager. The bitterness is just incredible on this beer. So if you prefer a more bitter beer, go for the Czech lager. If you want that more kind of well-rounded, malty but nice bitterness to the beer, then go for the German beer from ABK. They're all good in their own right. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to struggle to drink the 3 cans of the British lager. In fact, my brother-in-law is having a knee operation probably right now as I speak. Keyhole surgery in his knee to fix something. We're having a party up his house on Saturday. It's an early Christmassy sort of party that they do at the end of November, early December. I'll probably take these 3 cans up to him. He's a Carling drinker, he's a Corona drinker. I'll put him in his fridge and I'll tell him to enjoy the rest of those 3 cans. They're not for me, but he'll like them. The Belgian lager, yeah, it's probably one of those. I'll probably take him up to his party and I'll probably drink the 3 cans and have conversation and enjoy I won't be thinking about the beer when I'm drinking it. It's just an easy-going Belgian style lager. There's better Belgian lagers out there. For me personally, if I'm drinking a Belgian beer, I want to be drinking a Belgian blonde. I want to be drinking maybe a double or a triple. That's for me more Belgian style beer is that. But of course, this is lager. Lager is the #1 selling beer in the world, so it would be stupid of Marks and Spencer's not to brew a lager. That's the reason why that exists right there. And the other 3, well, no, I won't be taking them because I only bought 1 bottle of each. But they're all good. They're all good in their own right, and they all cater for a market. Marks and Spencer's have been very, very, very clever here. The only thing that's missing, and I would say on a personal level, the only thing that's missing is probably American lager. If anybody from Marks and Spencer's ever gets to watch this video, maybe they produce an American lager. But I think because I kind of know the reason why they don't. Let me pick up a beer. The German one. I kind of understand the reason why they don't. And that is purely a logistical thing. If Marks and Spencer's contact an American brewery, like they have done with Britain and Belgium, Germany and Czech Republic, and Spain of course, all on our doorstep, these deals can be done. The beer can be shipped over. What we're asking for here, if they want to have an American lager, is for logistically the beer to be made in America and shipped over to the UK. That's crossing like more or less, it's flipping half the world away, isn't it? So cost-wise, you're probably going to be looking at £3-4 a bottle for an American light lager. It doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense. It'll cost more to produce. It'll cost too much to produce, and it'll be a wishy-washy, with all due respect, American light lager. It's not going to sell, is it? It's really not going to work. I think that's the reason why we don't see an American lager in this range. So what's the difference? The difference is culture. The difference is, of course, where you're drinking it, what you like to drink, what style of beer you've been kind of like fed into, if you like. If your father was a Carling drinker, there's a high likeliness that you might be a Carling drinker too, especially if you're my sort of age, 40, 45. You very well might be. I play snooker twice a week, and literally everybody's drinking Carling, playing snooker. And I'm looking at them, and they're intelligent people. They're not daft people. They're intelligent people, but they drink it. They're drinking Carling, and like I've dipped my toe in the water with them in terms of like trying to explain. Like one of them was slightly interested in what I was doing as a beer reviewer, and I immediately picked up his pint of Carling, and he was almost like his eyes opened. What is he doing? Picked up his pint of Carling and I put it to my nose, and I was like, this is just a complete mess. It's sulphury, it's farty, and he had no idea what I was talking about, because he'd spent most of his adult life drinking Carling. He knows no difference, and this is the point. This is the whole point of the whole thing. I like to think of, and there's only we're a rare breed, aren't we? Let's be honest with you, we're a rare breed. There's only a small percentage of people in the UK that goes into Marks and Spencer's and thinks, oh, we have all of these different lagers from all of these different countries, let's try them. We're a rare breed. Normally in life, what happens is you find something, you like it, you drink it or eat it forever. So, would it be fair of me to rate each beer? As a beer reviewer, I suppose I have to, but there's a reluctance here to rate the beer, because what Marks and Spencer's have done, and I hope you've got it yet, is that they've cornered every single part of the beer drinking market. They've cornered the popular Spanish, they've cornered the popular British, they've cornered your Stella drinker, they've cornered your Czech beer drinker, they've cornered your German lager drinker. I can see what they've done here. It's very, very clever. But so with a reluctance, I'm going to rate these beers. Freedom Lager, this is going to be, going back drinking, this is going to be a bit of a shocker, I think. Yeah, it's like drinking nothing. It's like drinking water. I can't do a 6. I can't do a 6. 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Belgian lager. Nice body. Really lovely body to this beer. quite nice drinkability actually. It's not as bitter as the Czech beer. It's just a, you know, this is going to be my Saturday night beer. 7 out of 10. Spain. Thinner. I actually prefer the Belgian beer over the Spanish lager actually. This is a bit thin. This is a bit watery. This is a bit... It's a step up from the British lager, to be honest with you. And I think that's why it's popular with British beer drinkers, is because it's slightly better than British lager. 6. 6 for the Spanish lager. Czech. A little bit buttery from the malt. But that's what you come to expect from. I've had this from the Czech Republic. I've been to Prague and I've drunk buttery Staropramen. I drank it with a bit of bitterness. It was okay. It was okay. It was drinkable. I just like the bitterness of this. I like the bitterness. It's a very, very solid 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. German lager. Somebody's fired up a chainsaw. In the end of November, somebody's fired up a chainsaw. Great lacing on the glass, great quality looking beer. ABK, they produce some really good beer. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, for goodness sake. Look at it. Looks good. Smells good. Different layers of malt. Great drinkability, great water quality, bitterness. I think this wins, to be honest. Although I do love the bitterness of the Czech the Czech Pilsner, the German lager just edges it for me. The German lager gets a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was my best way of explaining all of the different styles of beer from different parts of Europe, and I think Marks and Spencer has been very, very, very clever here. Very clever. I think the beer buyer in Marks and Spencer's really knows what he's doing. Let's make no mistake, there's a shelf of IPA there as well, if you're interested in cans of IPA and pale ales. They just cornered it. If you know what you're doing as a beer drinker, then Marks and Spencer's have got you covered. Thanks for watching. Boom. Cheers.